Welcome to part 1 of this 4-part series entitled Telling Weird Animal Stories. Interview with Jo-Anne McArthur, vegan. Jo-Anne McArthur, a Shining World Compassion Award recipient, is a Canadian award-winning photojournalist, humane educator, animal rights activist, and author. We had the honor of hearing more about Jo-Anne McArthur's photographic journey.
My name is Jo-Anne McArthur and I'm a photojournalist. I'm also the founder of the We Animals Project, and that started over 15 years ago. It was me with a camera going around the world documenting our relationship with animals, but now what it is We Animals Media. We are a small group of filmmakers, photographers, journalists telling the stories of animals worldwide.
We Animals Media seeks to give the lives and stories of animals a place in a public conscience. As Jo-Anne explains, she had a moment of realization that made her go vegan.
I started getting sensitized to animal sentience, and I knew, I loved dogs and cats and birds and pets essentially, but then I got to know some chickens. And I was a meat eater, but I got to know that these chickens were curious and had complex personalities, much like the other animals that I loved. And I realized that I can't eat chickens now that I know what they're like. And I started learning about animal rights, animal sentience, and that put me on the path towards veganism. But another part of this puzzle is that I realized that I could use my skills as a photographer to help animals. Not like this one, I guess. Though I didn't photograph you, did I? I just adopted you. But part of what I do now is mentoring lots of people to become animal rights activists or to make the world a better place through helping animals. And that's what I learned, is that I could use, the camera, this amazing tool for change, to raise awareness about animals. And whether you're a neuroscientist or a lawyer or an artist, you can employ all of those skills to make the world a better place for animals. So the animal rights movement is a really exciting place to be right now, because there's so much happening and there's so much that we can do.
Jo-Anne shares a story about the chickens that made her realize her compassion toward all animals.
So my mom lived out in the countryside for a few years, and she bought 10 layer hens, but they roamed around the property with the 2 dogs and the cat, and they sort of had the same kind of life as the other animals. Some of them wanted to socialize with me, they wanted to socialize with the dogs. Just as the dogs always wanted to come and go inside, outside the house, the chickens wanted that as well. It was so interesting. And there was one chicken who wanted to sit on my shoulder all the time, and I thought, wow, these animals are so complex and smart, and they want to be my friend as well, so there's just no way that I can eat these animals. And I thought it would be a really big deal to give up meat eating. I thought it would be a big sacrifice, but what I learned is that it's the opposite. It's very freeing to live in line with my ideology, which is to not cause harm to anyone. And so eventually when I became vegan, I felt quite freed. I think being vegan is a liberating way to live. I live by example, you know, as a vegan. It's not something that comes across in all my work. More so, my documentary work is, you know, showing the conditions that we keep animals worldwide, the billions of animals who are incarcerated in these horrible factory farms and fur farms. And hopefully by extension, people will look at that work and make positive changes for animals. In other words, stop eating animals.
We'll take a few moments for a brief message and return soon here on Supreme Master Television.
Oh, hi. Thank you.
Welcome back to Telling We Animal Stories, interview with Jo-Anne McArthur, vegan, part 1 of 4. We Animals Media uses images, film, and journalism to tell the stories of animals around the world. Through the courageous photojournalists, people come to know and see the truth.
What I find exciting about the camera is that it's a tool for change. It shines light on all of these industries that are functioning behind walls, windowless walls. These are places that, for the most part around the world, we're not allowed to see. Because if we were to see, people would not support that kind of cruelty. And that's why I love the camera, because it shows, it educates, and not just showing how the animals live in these places, but showing the individuals, whether they're a broiler chicken, one of 25,000 in a barn, or whether it's the animals who are next in line for slaughter. Those are individuals having individual experiences, and they're having terrible experiences. And so I try and get close to everyone that I'm photographing, and show the expressions on their faces, and show the injuries they might have, and show the fear that they are expressing, so that we can understand these animals are having terrible lives, and all of this is completely avoidable.
The Ghosts in Our Machine is a 2013 Canadian documentary film which follows Jo-Anne McArthur as she photographs animals and seeks to publish her work. Through her lenses, she shows the animals at various locations, from appalling conditions on fur farms to peaceful homes at the farm sanctuary.
I feel like I'm a war photographer, and I'm photographing history. I'm photographing changes in history right now in terms of animal rights and where it's going. Leaving is the reason that I'm haunted. I'm closing the door and leaving them behind.
Oh my God, look how he's holding that monkey.
What we can tell you is all three of us will try to get your stuff out there.
I'm finally getting these thousands of stories that I have down on paper.
You're in Toronto, but you spend 6 months a year pursuing this issue.
Yeah, that's the thing. I have a huge archive, 10 years
excellent.
worth, of our relationships with animals around the globe. I'm trying to save the world.
Come up and stay for a week and just take pictures and hang, lay in the grass. You can stay for a month. You can stay as long as you want. You gotta lay back and see the good, and the good is here.
I truly believe that it's innate, that we're all compassionate, and that if we're given the opportunity to care, we will.
A Canadian director, Liz Marshall, she does social issue documentaries, and she was becoming very sensitized to animal issues, and she wanted to make a film about the problem with how we treat animals these days. And so she asked me if I would be the protagonist in her film, and I said yes, and we started a huge adventure together. It was 5 years from beginning to end, and the film followed me as I did investigative work worldwide. And yeah, so it was like following this lonely warrior, you know, out doing this work and trying to show the world. And so it was a bit of a David and Goliath story. And at the time that she made this film, it was still a lot harder for me to get published then. And things have changed so much in the media, which is really, really exciting. I was, you know, pounding the pavement trying to get people to look at this work, and media outlets would say, this is very good work, but we won't publish it. And it's so different now. I shoot for The Guardian now. Every week, you know, my work is published internationally, and not just mine, but the work of many, many animal photojournalists. It's a really, really beautiful film, and it tells a fantastic story, and yet things have changed, and so it doesn't exactly represent anymore who I was then, and this ability or inability to get the work published. Totally different now.
With deep thankfulness to Jo-Anne McArthur and all those working to save the animals, we pray that humanity swiftly adopts the life-saving vegan way, so that Earth may be a safe haven for all her wonderful inhabitants.
Supreme Master Ching Hai applaud and present Jo-Anne McArthur with the Shining World Compassionate Photographer Award with a loving contribution of $10,000 as a supportive gift for her noble work and God's immense love.
Supreme Master Ching Hai is deeply grateful to the beloved God for all the financial help, comfort, and support to the afflicted and needy, and or any good cause over the years, as a humble vessel for hers, neutral term for his or hers, compassion and love toward hers precious children.
For more information on Jo-Anne McArthur, please visit joannemacarthur.com. Enlightened viewers, it's been a pleasure to have you with us today.